I need you to knock some sense into me. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy listening to you. I don't always agree with everything.
All right, enough of this persiflage.
So, you want my question?
I'm certainly not going to get myself in trouble by telling you what to do.
That makes great sense. Gosh, that's good.
Did I overwhelm you with words and wisdom?
I've got 7 kids. I feel like I could call you every day.
What? Wait, you're telling me I'm wrong? Disconnect.
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray.
You just need to tune in to Dr. Ray, honey. He's got all the answers.
Am I right or am I right?
Probably.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Now, looking at some statistics, according to most studies, the number one fear of people is public speaking. The number 2 fear is death. Now, this means that the average person, if you have to go to a funeral, you'd prefer being in the casket than doing the eulogy? Just saying. Nice to have you with me here on The Doctor Is In. Number to get onto the program is very easy for you. Oh, I had to scratch and claw and grovel my way into hosting this program. Waiting. All you have to do is call a number. 877-573-7825. 877-57-equal. That is the number to get onto the program. For whatever reason you wish, whether it's asking about a particular situation or circumstance in your life, or not even a situation, something very personal to yourself, within yourself, whether it's social, emotional, psychological, whether it's religious, faith question. I can't do the faith questions like some of the great understanders, yeah, I make up words, understanders of the faith on Catholic media. But I give it my best shot to explain it as basically as I can. Also, if you have a generic question about something in the world of psychology or development, intellect, emotions, diagnoses, something you don't understand, if you have a question, a comment to help someone else, we get a lot of that, and that's very, very nice. So the number, let's give me the number, and you can use that number for all those things, 877-57-equal. That is the number to get onto the program. I don't think I have too much business here. I'll take a look during the break and see what announcements I have to make. I had to take a number of test development courses when I was in grad school. You have to develop a test. You have to know about things like reliability, what kind of agreement among people analyzing the test would there be. Validity, does the test actually measure what you want it to measure? I don't know why I didn't do well on that particular test course. This is the test I developed, and I was a little hurt that they didn't take it a little more seriously. I called it the real man test. It's multiple choice, and all real men, this is to determine how much of a real man you are, answer C to these questions. For example, alien beings from a highly advanced society visit the Earth. You are the first human they encounter. As their token of intergalactic friendship, they present you with a small but incredibly sophisticated device that is capable of curing all disease, providing an infinite supply of clean energy, wiping out hunger and poverty, and permanently eliminating oppression and violence all over the entire Earth. So you have 3 options. You decide to, A, present it to the President of the United States. B, present it to the Secretary General of the United Nations. Or C, as a real man, you take it apart, see if you can put it back together. I'll give you another one. As you grow older, what quality of your youth do you miss the most? A, innocence. B, idealism. C, cherry bombs. Third scenario. You've been seeing a woman for several years. She's attractive. She's intelligent. You enjoy being with her. One Sunday afternoon, the two of you are watching a football game. She's reading the paper, and suddenly, out of the blue, she says she loves you, but can no longer bear the uncertainty of not knowing where the relationship is going. What do you say? A, you sincerely believe the two of you have a future, but you don't want to rush it. B, although you have strong feelings for her, you cannot honestly say you'll be ready anytime soon to make a lasting commitment. You don't want to hurt her feelings by holding out false hope. Or C, you cannot believe the Broncos called a draw play on 3rd and 17. Okay. One weekday morning, your wife wakes up. She's not feeling good. She asks you to get the 3 kids ready for school. Your first question to her is, A, do they need to eat or anything? B, they're enrolled in school already? C, there are 3 of them, right? All right, one more of my test. What, in your opinion, is the most reasonable explanation for the fact that Moses led the Israelites all over the place for 40 years before they finally got to the Promised Land? A, he was being tested. B, he wanted them to really appreciate the Promised Land when they got there. Or C, he refused to ask for directions. Well, I turned that in. I think that was quite a test. I thought that it pretty much established the idea of who is a real man, but I had to take the course over. I passed the test. All right. Short opening monologue for a little bit of fun today. My opening monologue was going to be, do you have to apologize when you're not wrong? That's what it was going to be. Instead, I gave you this fluffy little piece of jocundity here when we could have actually delved into something with a little more substance. Well, I'm saving my substance for you folks. One more thing before I take the break. The rule in this program is if you were on the program at the end and you didn't get on the air anytime in the near future, you are free. You are first up. Now, I can't count. I don't know how many people were on the air over the past 20-some years that I've done this show. We're on the radio waiting to be on the air. Last 20-some years I've done this program. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's many hundreds. How many have taken me up on the offer that when they call back, they say, hey, on January 22nd, I was on the radio waiting to be called and the show ended? I can count that. It's probably 20. I'm going to have to ponder. The discrepancy there and the people on the program at the end, not on the air, and those who take up the offer of first up anytime if you were on the air. I'm Dr. Ray.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com. Food for the Journey's Sister Ann Shields.
We have a tendency to make idols. We exalt other people to the place that really belongs to God. And we see it. We see it in sports. We see it in beauty contests of all kinds. We see all kinds of ways in which we idolize certain people. We elevate them because there's something in us that wants to be able to look up to someone. But that person is Jesus. And you idolize if you're thinking about them, if you're imitating them, If you're occupying yourself with the things that they do, we'd say, oh, no, I don't worship false idols. But in effect, we do. If our time, our attention, and our money are going to things or people that aren't worth it, we are to have the Lord front and center and the Lord exalted in our lives, everything directed to Him and back through Him to His people. But we human creatures, we go after something that touches us in some way, or we desire to be like them, and so we start imitating them, and we get ourselves sidetracked. Let's fix our gaze on the Lord. Let's imitate Him, and then we're going to know the kind of worship that sets us free.
Sister Ann Shields gives you food for the journey, weekday mornings at 6:45 and again at 11:30 on 990 Ave Maria Radio.
We had a question from Jennifer, and she dropped off. Can Catholics be pro-life and be pro-contraception? Well, you can be pro-life, but if you're pro-contraception, you're going against the historic teaching of the church from the beginning, from the apostles themselves. So, yeah, you can technically be pro-life, but you are quite inconsistent if you're pro-contraception and you're, again, going against historic Catholic teaching. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, but let me just give you one quick one that I neglected to say last time somebody else called in. Jennifer, if you're pro-contraception and you're doing something like in vitro fertilization, you're going to fertilize multiple eggs. You will implant 2, 3, 4 of them, and one, if it survives, will survive. Implant the eggs. You will implant a fertilized zygote. And if it survives, the others will die. Sometimes you can have twins, more higher percentage of twin conceptions. And then also, the rest of those fertilized eggs will be frozen or discarded, or could even be used as biological experiments. So, that said. Tom is calling from Wisconsin. He's got himself a real tough situation. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you?
So she joined a protest group. What is she protesting?
Well, she's protesting all the ICE activities, and we live just outside of Minneapolis, so she's been in Minneapolis protesting some of that, and her it's an Antifa group. Those are her words, not mine, but I can tell just when she comes back from these protests that she's angrier and angrier, and we always have had a loving relationship prior to this.
This doesn't make sense to me, Tom. If you're saying that you and your wife had a solid, loving marital relationship, and I'm going to assume she was religious with you, or no, she was lukewarm about the faith?
Well, I would once in a while get her to say the rosary with me, but she stopped doing that for a while, and she would criticize me sometimes if I was listening to the Bible in Year podcast from Dr. Mike and stuff, or Father Mike and stuff like that. So she was kind of, I would say, lukewarm.
It sounds like she was lukewarm at best. It sounds like at worst she was hostile, but she was holding it under wraps.
I think she is hostile because when I tried to discuss some of this with her, if I used religion at all, she got really angry with me.
And this has been building throughout your marriage?
Not really. I mean, it happened. Things started going a little bit south after this last election. And then when she joined the protest group, probably last February, and the further in it got, the more estranged, I guess, she became from me, where, suddenly she said in December that she's filing for divorce.
She can't relate to you. She doesn't like your religion. She doesn't like your politics. Now that's probably spreading into she doesn't like you. It's been building. Is that a safe summary?
That's a pretty safe summary, I think.
To expand this into a cultural commentary, I saw a statistic the other day that about 25% of those surveyed believe that it is okay to go beyond peaceful protest to resist ICE. About 25% of the population. In essence, being much more physical about it. Among women, I forget the age group, 20 to 45, 20 to 55, whatever it was, 61% thought that it was okay to go beyond peaceful to resist ICE. I would guess that your wife has gotten, she probably had that bent all along from what you're describing, but she's gotten much further into it, and as she got more and more into thinking a certain way about a whole lot of things, in her mind, she can relate less and less and less and less to you. You're too religious, or you're too conservative, or you're too narrow, whatever it might be. Do you have children?
Not together. No, we've only been married 9 years, and we're an older couple.
Well, my friend, I don't know what to tell you if your wife obviously is determined to divorce you, unless you're willing to sacrifice everything about who you are and go further and say, well, I will act as though I believe all the things you do about everything, whether it's religious or political or moral, whatever it is. It sounds like this has been coming for a while, and the catalyst has been this intense resistance against certain political things, and you're just not going along.
Yeah, and I refuse to capitulate to her beliefs or anything like that.
I saw statistics that over the last, I think, 20, 25 years, men have gotten slightly more conservative. Women have gotten radically more left. Now, I've read some articles on explaining some of that cultural phenomenon, why that is, why that might be. But it seems to me that this last thing where she says, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do whatever I can to go against what's happening out there, and you're not. And that was kind of like the final piece of indication that we just are not one. It seems. I don't want to speak off the cuff, but it sure sounds like that's what you're describing.
Right. I think you're right. And I guess for a while now, I've just been able to try and my head is kind of swimming. I don't know how to react, and I'm going through all these different emotions. So,
well, I'd want some clarification. I'd say you are clearly drifting further from me. What is it about me that you don't like and that you want to be divorced from? And I'll bet the dam will break, and you'll hear all kinds of things that she's been stewing about for quite some time about you, and that she's finally becoming aware, and I'm sure she's getting an awful lot of support and a lot of confirmation that she is on the right track, and that means she's moving further from you.
Right.
Yeah, this is a cultural phenomenon here, Tom. And again, I don't know your marriage. I don't know what other disagreements you've had, what other conflicts and troubles. I don't know, obviously. But if you're just looking at this one element, it's not unusual for this to happen in relationships, where the woman becomes much more, if you want to use the word progressive, I guess you can use it. I don't like the word. I think in a lot of respects it's regressive. But, and the guy isn't. He's more traditional or more conservative or even in some respects more religious. And the women are becoming much more discontent with the way things are and with the guys they're married to.
Sure.
Culture has a lot of power.
Okay.
It just has a lot of power to shape people. And if they're not going to sit down and
powerless, so.
Yeah. Well, God bless you, my friend.
All right.
Be stable, be strong. But I'd want to know. I'd really want to know it all. Tell me what it is that you've decided that this marriage is over.
Sure.
And interestingly enough, okay, I'll just leave you with this as an aside. You said you had kids from previous marriages. So, as a Catholic, if in fact that marriage was only civilly divorced and it was a assumed valid marriage in the church, then that marriage is still intact. You're still married there. So this second relationship, from the church's perspective, is somewhat tantamount to two people living together.
Right. Yep. And we did get married in church. So
it was presumed. You got married in church because your previous relationships they had died, or there was annulments.
Well, we were both divorced, and we both had our previous marriages annulled.
Okay.
And so then we got married in a Catholic church.
Okay.
And we both went in with our eyes wide open. We knew exactly, everything. We knew a lot about each other. So,
well, maybe you didn't know enough about each other.
Maybe
because you thought she would not head in this direction. I got to believe that.
I did not think she would.
All right.
So.
Okay, my friend.
Right.
God bless you. Good luck. Jeez. Take care. See, that's just when divorce is forced upon someone, and it's so easy to think, oh, geez, they shouldn't have to live the rest of their life alone or the rest of their life single. But divorce is such a complicated, messy thing for so many people. And they've already got kids from other relationships, and now this is just going to add to the complexity. Yikes. I got a minute and a half. I want to make a couple of announcements here, if I can do that. Let me go here to here, find that. Forgive me, this is dead air time in the radio. It's supposedly deadly, but some people would say my dead air time. Where's these? Here we go. I want to make this announcement here. We have got, congratulations, to Sacred Heart Radio out there in the Northwest. Yeah, it's Washington State and Kodiak, Alaska, where the big bears are. 12 stations. I remember meeting Ron Belter back when they just had one, and the studio was in his living room. I went there. Kind of sat down in his living room. He was often one corner there. Well, now they're 25 years old, and they've got 12 stations. Shows you what people can do with your money. When you support them like that, they just build and build and build, and that's fantastic. So congratulations to Ron and all the folks there. The great team at Sacred Heart Radio from those of us here at EWTN. All right, music's starting here in about 10 seconds. Then I will get to your calls. I didn't want to be interrupted by a hard break, so I appreciate you waiting patiently on this. Start the music, Andrew, right now. No? Where is it? There it is. My clock's off. All right, this is Dr. Ray, number 877-57 equal. Thanks for taking time to be with me. Got some heavies today. Definitely got some heavies. You know, I think back on our previous caller, and I'm highly suspect that there were some significant views of life differently back when they began, and they were kept under wraps because it's not common for someone to divert so far from what it appeared that they thought like in a relatively short period of time. So just as a thought. Christine from Rochester, New York. Hi, Christine.
Yes,
I hope your bite is not worse than your bark.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I have this is real heavy too. My son told me a few years back that him and his girlfriend that had broke up out of the blue. I was shocked. He told me that he had an abortion. And at the time that he told me, I had asked him, I had gotten the feeling that he had went to his father. Me and his father are divorced. He was violent. He was violent with me and my son. And that's one of the many reasons why we got divorced. So when my son told me, he had obviously went to his father and not me. And he said it was because I was recovering from cancer. And so he didn't want to bother me.
Yeah, wait a minute. Stop. I'm going to interrupt you, Christine. I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. You actually believe that?
No.
He went to his dad because he was going to get the answer he wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, dear. Doesn't surprise you, right, that the dad said, look, let's set up the abortion. That doesn't surprise you, does it?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't. Yeah, I think that's what I didn't want to accept.
Well, I can understand you're not one to accept it, but in a way you expected it, right? I mean, it sounds like your ex-husband doesn't have the same morals and values that you do.
No. And when my son had told me, I think I went into shock, and I threw up, and I couldn't talk to him, and I feel bad that I wasn't able to talk to him about it. I don't know why he told me afterwards.
Christine, you don't need to beat yourself up because he didn't come to you. And if you say, yeah, but I wish he would have come to me, but it's because you view it as beautifully morally as you do that he's not going to come to you. I mean, it sounds like he probably wanted this, and he had to get some practical help in carrying it out, and also thinking, well, I know how my mom thinks. She's kind of like Catholic religious, and there's no way she's going to allow this, and my girlfriend really wants to get an abortion, and we're not going to be together anymore anyway, and it's all kinds of complications, and this is just the better way to do it.
He didn't want to. No, I have a feeling that he forced her, that he just really intimidated her.
Son or your ex?
My ex-husband. Okay. No, my ex-husband. I think.
Your son didn't stand up to him?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but he is,
Okay. Well, let's take it from here.
What happened when he told him?
Sure. Let's take it from here. So you've long since known that this happened. Has your son talked to you about it?
No, the one time we were on the phone, I couldn't talk to him anymore. I just, like I said, I threw up, and I just said, I can't talk to you about this. And I kind of blacked it out and pretended like it didn't happen because I didn't really want to face what he was telling me.
Do you have contact with your son now?
Oh, yeah, I do. And if something triggered my memory about what he had told me. And so now I'm just trying to process everything, and I'm just trying to go through the process like I should have when he first told me. And I didn't know if I should talk to him about it or if I should just let it go because it's...
Well, you can do this. You can do this, Christine. Next time you bring it up, you can ask him, where are you now with all this? As you look back and you saw how it all went down, would you do anything differently? And where are you now? And if he says, I totally regret it. I can't believe I did it. I was pushed into doing it. Then you can help him. You can say, well, if you're still in the faith, the one thing you can do so that you're back in God's good graces, if you will, go to confession. You can confess this. Now, I would also probably explore a little bit if he thinks this is unforgivable. If he would say, I'm going to have to just leave religion because there's no way I can be part of religion after something like that. Now, that's not uncommon. So I would chase that with him. I want to get into where he's thinking right now, 2 years later. I'm assuming the girlfriend is gone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He thought they were going to get back together once she had gotten over it, and I tried explaining to him that your good goal would be to help him past any nonsense ideas that he has about not being able to be forgiven, about the church, about morals, about all of that. And also, it could be because that he really did feel bullied, forced into doing it. In the church's eyes, that would be a mitigating factor. The abortion is clearly objectively wrong, but again, there was all kinds of dynamics. Maybe the girl didn't follow the same moral values. The ex-husband was pushing like crazy. Who knows? Who knows all the pressure that was coming to bear? Yeah.
You know, so the fact that he didn't come to you tells you he just really didn't. He didn't want to deal with you in terms of what he knew he was going to hear from his mother.
Right.
And so you can tell him you still love him. You can tell him, of course, you recognize that these kinds of things happen. I know some very, very faith-filled Catholics that they call this program, or I even know them personally, who had abortions when they were younger. And they have regretted it, and they have remorse, and they have contrition, and they are fully into the faith. So God bless you, Christine, for being a wonderful moral voice for your son. Let him know that even though you have very strong morals and values about this, you're still there for him. Comment before I go back to your calls. I got a very scathing email just recently. The gentleman, when I responded to him, and I think I properly revealed the Catholic Church's teachings on this, he wrote back with some more critical remarks and said, "I will stop listening to you." That was his response. The problem relates a little bit to our previous caller. Abortion is objectively a grave moral evil. Objectively, it is. But the church looks at what circumstances that God might have, that God would take into account on this. You know, the 15-year-old who doesn't understand that it's wrong and feels pressured into it and has no moral view about it, etc., is very different than the 28-year-old who says, I know it's wrong, but I don't want another baby, and I'm going to do it, and I don't care. Very different. That doesn't make abortion any less wrong with a 15-year-old. It's very, very wrong. But he got very angry at me. He said, no, it's wrong no matter what. It's flat out wrong no matter what. Well, and I said, no, that's not the church teaching. It is definitely objectively wrong, but the amount of blame to the person is known only to God. Well, he didn't want to hear that. So I lost a viewer, so I'm down to 151. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Pat's been waiting patiently from Lincoln, Nebraska. Hi, Pat.
Hi. Okay. My situation is a little different. Had a wonderful daughter and son-in-law, wonderful parents, 2 daughters, been married 17 years. All of a sudden, her husband says, I'm done.
Wait,
I want out.
Stop right there. Stop right there. You know I'm going to correct you. It wasn't all of a sudden.
No. You're probably correct.
It's been brewing for a long time. Yeah. Or he may have met someone that pushed him over the edge.
Well, he runs hotels. Okay, and I kind of knew when they got married because his folks are divorced and they each have new partners and they make it look so normal. And so he doesn't want counseling or nothing, and he just totally destroyed my daughter's heart. But anyway, it's all friendly. So my issue is the daughters are 12 and 9, and they're not Catholic, but they're very Christian, and they're very into Bible studies and stuff like that. How do I explain to the granddaughters that just stopping your marriage is not acceptable? Marriage is, you don't.
Well, they're going to find out, Pat, how hard it is. They're going to experience a lot more potent reaction than anything you're going to tell them. Because they're now going to have to deal with the complications of mom and dad not being together and all that's going to entail, and especially if he's got another girl, so now that just adds to the complication.
Yes, and my daughter's naive about it, but the truth will come out eventually, and this other girl will pop up eventually. But it just drives me nuts that I'm supposed to be friendly with everything. It's not okay with me. And it's out of my control, yes. But
well, you probably are not going to have a whole lot of contact with him, Pat. If he's going to go off and live his life, then you're going to have contact with your 2 granddaughters and your daughter through their relationship now.
That's just it. He comes to their practice. He's a wonderful father.
Well, now, okay, I'm not going to debate you on that, but wonderful fathers don't abandon their family. Okay, so let's just
exactly.
I don't like that kind of. Oh, he's such a good dad. No, he's leaving his wife and kids. What does that say?
Exactly. Well, they're making it look like divorce is normal, and that's what's bothering me. It's not normal. You don't go and.
And you can't do anything about it. You're going to be the stable influence in your 2 granddaughters' lives. You're going to be the one who takes them to church. You're going to be the one who buys them a crucifix for their bedroom. You're going to be the one they're going to ask questions about and things they don't understand, because they're going to go to Grandma, and they're going to know that Grandma has a level-headed view of these things. That's going to be your role from here on out. And regarding the fact that this marriage split, nothing you're going to do about it. You're just going to pick up pieces with your daughter and the kids. That's it. I mean, your relationship with them is now going to be Grandma with daughter and 2 children. And yeah, okay, he'll come to their soccer game. So what? You still won't have any contact with him.
Well, and they do this 2 days on, 2 days off, every other weekend. I mean, the kids are just constantly running.
Well, the girls are going to find out this isn't exactly the greatest way to be. And my experience has been that at some point, one of them, or maybe both of them, is going to resent their father for breaking up the family.
Yeah.
They are.
Well,
I see this all the time. I see it all the time.
So I'm just supposed to stand by and make everything okay because they want me to be friendly to their dad, and it's like I'm not mad.
Well, you're not going to be friendly to him because I don't mean you're going to be hostile to him. You're not going to be friendly to him. You're not going to have much contact with him. You're not.
I hope not.
All right, don't you worry about that. You pick up the
just
pieces
so-
with those girls. That's going to be your role, Mama.
All right. Well, that's good enough. I guess I'll just let it go.
Well, you got no choice. You got no choice.
I know, and that's maddening too. But I just kind of feel like I want to take them and say, that is not okay to break a marriage up because you're not happy. You worked on it. You just...
Yeah, and you're right. You're totally right. But you could say that. Go ahead. If it gives you comfort, go ahead and say it. But there's a 99.9627% chance, my rough estimate, that he's going to look at you like, shut up.
Probably so.
Yes.
But anyway, they make divorce look too normal.
I know they do, hon. I know it. And there is no group of studies in all of psychology that says, more so than these studies, divorce is bad for kids.
Exactly.
There you go. He doesn't know it, but he's adding complications to his life because as those girls get older, there's going to be dynamics here, and if he goes with another woman and she's got kids and they don't get along with those kids, it gets ugly. Okay, Pat, be well. Talk to you. Bye. Sort of how I did that. It gets ugly. Okay, be well. Yeah, talk about a non sequitur. This is Dr. Ray.
Saint Therese of Lisieux, the cloistered Carmelite nun, and Saint Joan of Arc, the 17-year-old girl who led the French army and was burned at the stake. Two paths to holiness that awaken the contemplative heart and the warrior spirit. The Therese and Joan Women's Retreat is the first weekend of Lent, February 20th to the 22nd at the St. Francis Retreat Center in DeWitt, featuring Sean Breeden and Elizabeth Jingle. Click the banner at AveMariaRadio.net to register by Friday, January 30th. The Heart of the Interior Life with Elizabeth Jingle.
St. Ignatius of Loyola describes the challenging characteristics of spiritual desolation in the fourth rule of his 14 rules for the discernment of spirits. St. Ignatius states that finding oneself totally slothful, tepid, sad, falls within the experience of spiritual desolation. Father Timothy Gallagher writes, the adverb totally is powerful here. Ignatius applies it to three further forms of spiritual desolation. Persons in such desolation may experience themselves as entirely slothful, tepid, and sad. When a person finds themselves totally slothful, they lack spiritual vitality. When a person is tepid, they lack spiritual zeal. And when they experience a sadness connected to their life of faith, they lack interior joy. Have you asked for the grace to identify and reject spiritual desolation in your life today?
For more information, visit AveMariaRadio.net.
As the new year approaches, it's the perfect moment to check off a big resolution early and wrap your family in the gift of security. Planning ahead shows your love in a big way, ensuring your wishes shine through no matter what life brings. At mycatholicwill.com/AVE, you can create your will at no cost from the privacy of your home. The process is straightforward. Go to mycatholicwill.com/AVE and prioritize your family's peace of mind. I'm not going to take Jeff's call, but Jeff, you're absolutely right, and that is so critical that artificial contraceptions are abortifacients. That's right. In an unknown percentage of time, even on the pill, contraception takes place, and then when that one-celled zygote heads down the fallopian tubes and tries to implant into the uterine wall, after it becomes a 3 or 4 or 5 day old little baby, it is washed out. It is aborted. So you're absolutely right on that. And I did not mention it because there's so much to mention about it. So, Jeff, thank you so much for reminding me on that. Anonymous caller from Massachusetts struggles with perfectionism. I don't struggle with perfectionism because I'm pretty close to it. You know, about 99.26% close. So I just kind of write off the other 0.74%. Hi, Anonymous. How are you?
Hi. Both myself and members of my family, I know I struggle with perfectionism. I'm 99% sure members of my family do. Basically, I don't know if good Catholic resources that I can basically show them to, I don't know, substantiate it. I've looked in the catechism and stuff, but I don't.
Well, let me give you a brief thought and then a brief referral. The brief thought is, when you struggle with perfectionism, there, believe it or not, and I hate to say this to you because you're already self-scrutinizing, perfectionism is kind of grounded in pride. It's like, gee, I have to be this way because this is the way I need to be valuable and to be worthwhile. Perfectionism is something you put upon yourself because if you don't rise to the level of whatever perfection you want in whatever field it is in your life or whatever aspect or whatever personality characteristic, you put yourself down because obviously you should be able to be perfect, right? So there is a certain pride involved with that. And you have to ask yourself, is this what God wants of me? He wants me to torment myself because I am not 100% competent, capable, virtuous, whatever word you want to put on it, that you're chasing 100%. He doesn't want you to do that. I have a book called Thinking Like Jesus, The Psychology of a Faithful Disciple. It may have some ideas in there that will help you or your family, because it talks about a lot of the kinds of things we do to ourselves to make ourselves miserable, to put pressure on ourselves, to perform, or in your case, to be perfect, however you define that. So that book, I believe, would help you. It's on my website, drray.com. It is signed. But regarding your own striving and upset when you don't do everything perfectly well as you define it, you got to step back here, my friend, and look at it and say, why have I decided that this is so important? Why am I doing this to myself when God wouldn't do it to me? Am I better than God at this? God has a lot of tolerance for our imperfections as long as we keep striving toward Him. And when our Lord said, you must be perfect even as your Heavenly Father is perfect, He knew you couldn't be perfect. He talked about it. But He knew it's something that is an ideal that you reach for. But you recognize a lot of times you're going to fall short. Okay, my friend. Thank you. Fred from Ohio has a comment about the call. Oh, Fred left? Did he really? Okay, he said, I think it's good to share with young people that physical relations should wait till marriage. Well, of course it is, and that's part of every parent's Catholic or Christian upbringing, that God designed it that way, and when it doesn't happen that way, the repercussions are enormous, not just personally, but for a culture. When you take two people coming together in a union out of a lifelong commitment, look out. We have research. Janet Smith is real good on this. She has a speech called Contraception, Why Not? Very good. And talks about a lot of research that essentially says that when you have physical union with someone, for women, it creates a lot of hormonal changes. It also creates a kind of bond, even though we say, yeah, it's just recreation, just fun. Hey, what's your name again? Oh, well, okay, see you later. Thanks for everything. That's generally not the way we're wired. And the research says it. But when God says, I designed this for marriage, and we go, oh, come on, man. No, it's too much fun. This is too cool. Then all kinds of things are going to happen that you can't foresee. And yes, that young man whose girlfriend got an abortion, who knows at what point in her life she'll look back at it and say, I can't believe I killed my baby. I've dealt with so many women who wrestle with that. It haunts them. It just haunts them. Especially if they get to the point where they recognize, oh boy, I'm very different now than I was 9 years ago. I think very differently. And I've come closer to God. So, thanks for everything. Thanks, Andrew Kruchek. Thank you, Eric Dumont, and all you do on that end here for The Doctor Is In. I appreciate your company. I appreciate you listening however many minutes you did. Walk with God. And if you fall down, get up and keep going. If you have to crawl, keep crawling.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.